Hello, my name is Bryce Budney, and this is my presentation for International Law and Organizations. Today I will be discussing the International Criminal Court and how they play a vital role in bringing justice to world leaders who have been accused of committing war crimes. In the aftermath of the Second World War, the need for a consistent international tribunal to address mass atrocities, such as genocide, was recognized. But such an organization would not have had the authority to properly address issues due to the bipolar nature of the Cold War era, wherein the United States and Soviet Union, as the world's largest superpowers, would not have allowed the prosecution of leaders under their umbrellas of influence. Therefore, international tribunals tended to be implemented temporarily following conflicts in order to hold war criminals accountable, such as the Nuremberg and Tokyo trials following World War II. After the Cold War, the creation of two temporary tribunals by the United Nations Security Council in the cases of former Yugoslavia and Rwanda led to the renewed interest in a legal authority that could handle prosecution and judgment of those who are accused of committing mass atrocities. The Rome Statute is the result of these negotiations to establish this organization, and as such serves as the founding document of the ICC. It outlines the purpose, the organization, and the jurisdiction of the ICC. The International Criminal Court was established by the Rome Statute to be an international legal authority. It is the only international organization with the capacity to prosecute world leaders or any individual who commits serious crimes on a broad scale and is not prosecuted by their national judicial system. The crimes which only the ICC has the ability to act on include genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and other crimes of aggression. The Rome Statute also defines these offenses and outlines the remit of the ICC. The organization only has jurisdiction over these crimes if they are committed by a citizen of a participating country, or if the crime is committed within one of these countries. Alternatively, the ICC can investigate, prosecute, and adjudicate in cases which are referred to the ICC by the United Nations Security Council. The Rome Statute also establishes the main portions of the International Criminal Court, including the Judicial Division and the Office of the Prosecutor. The Judicial Division is made up of 18 judges, including the President and 2 Vice Presidents, who are selected by and preside over the 18 judges. This panel is selected by an assembly of the member states to serve single 9-year terms. The Office of the Prosecutor operates similarly, with a prosecutor and deputy prosecutors being appointed by the assembly of member states to serve 9-year unrenewable terms. However, this office is unique in that it is the only international prosecution vested with the ability to investigate and bring charges for crimes not addressed by national governments. One example of a victory achieved by the ICC is in the case of the Second Congo War, which began in that country in 1998. Peace agreements were established in 2003, but ongoing violence and instability resulted in the Congo referring the case to the ICC in 2004. Thomas Diallo was the first successful conviction carried out by the ICC. He was charged with enlisting children and the use of children in hostilities, and was sentenced to 14 years in prison by the International Criminal Court. Germain Katanga was charged by the ICC with various war crimes and crimes against humanity, mainly relating to attack on Bogoro, which killed 200 civilians. He was convicted on 4 counts of war crimes and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Finally, the case of Bosco Ntaganda saw the most serious conviction by the ICC in history. He was initially charged with the same war crimes as Diallo, but he was charged with further counts of crimes against humanity and war crimes, including murder and attacks against a civilian population. The court found him guilty of 18 of these various mass atrocities, and as a result, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison by the International Criminal Court. Overall, The case of the aftermath of the Second Congo War illustrates the importance of the ICC as an intergovernmental tribunal tasked with holding individuals and leaders accused of mass atrocities accountable. In the modern day, more situations have arisen which require the attention of the ICC. The organization has been tasked with investigating the actions of Vladimir Putin and his regime in the Black Sea region since 2014 and the annexation of Crimea. 39 member nations referred the case of the invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces in 2022 to the ICC, and Ukraine itself made requests to the ICC regarding the annexation of Crimea. This established a strong argument for ICC jurisdiction, and as such, the court issued warrants of arrest for Vladimir Putin and the head of Russian Children's Affairs. The allegations made by these warrants are mainly related to the trafficking and kidnapping of children from Ukraine during the invasion. Furthermore, the establishment of Ukraine as a member state of the ICC in January of 2025 has more firmly established the ICC's jurisdiction in this situation. The ICC is the only international organization to pressure member countries to arrest Putin if he enters their borders. This unique position allows it to hinder support for Russia in this conflict by not allowing these accused war criminals to enter member nations without the threat of arrest. Another example of the International Criminal Court affecting modern global governance is the case of the situation in Palestine. When the Rome Statute was negotiated, Israel was one of the 7 countries who voted against it. They explicitly did this because of the inclusion of the war crime which forbids transferring population into occupied territory, which is their policy for the Palestinian-controlled West Bank. Therefore, they have been under investigation by the ICC for this practice and for war crimes committed in the 2014 Gaza War since 2015. Due to their non-member status and their lack of recognition of the State of Palestine, Israel disputes the ICC's authority, but the ICC recognized Palestinian territory as separate from Israel in their justification. Furthermore, due to the attacks by Hamas on October 7, 2023, and the resulting war in Gaza, the ICC has widened its investigation to include Israeli political and military leaders as well as the leaders of Hamas. As a result, 3 arrest warrants have been issued, one to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, one to Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant, and one to the now-deceased military leader of Hamas, Mohammed Deif. In regard to Prime Minister Netanyahu and Minister Gallant, the ICC has accused them of the war crimes of using starvation as a method of warfare and directly attacking civilian populations, as well as various crimes against humanity, including murder. This has seen similar results as the warrant for Putin. The national leader is unable to travel to the ICC member countries due to fear of arrest. Overall, the International Criminal Court has widespread influence on global governance. Beginning as an idea for an independent court which could address mass atrocities, it has become a widely trusted bastion for international justice in the face of national government instabilities or failures. Furthermore, it has the ability to affect global relations, with accused individuals, particularly world leaders, being unable to travel to member nations of the ICC without fear of being arrested. Therefore, I believe the ICC is perfectly positioned to support the global agenda of bringing justice to world leaders who have committed war crimes.